Well, hey there everyone, and welcome back to Cowboy Survival. I'm Richard, and today what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at our old friend, the Free Soldier 10x10 tarp. We're going to look at setting up a tarp shelter that's a little different than normal. Let's say you're out somewhere, you've got to spend the night, but you don't really want to be under the trees. You look up, there's a lot of widow makers up there, there's a lot of branches that you're afraid might come down with the winds are expected to come up in the middle of the night. So you want to be somewhere more out in the open so you don't risk getting limbs dropped on top of you while you're sleeping. So we're going to look at a tarp setup that you can do that doesn't require a ridge line and doesn't require you have trees nearby to set this thing up. So let's just go look at a in the field setup for the Free Soldier tarp. So you're not going to need a lot for this setup. You're going to need a tarp, and we're going to use the Free Soldier 10x10 tarp. You're going to need some guy lines, because once you get this set up, you're going to want to stretch it out and tighten it out a little bit. You're also going to need some pegs. Probably going to need about 5 or 6 pegs, depending on the way you set it up. And you're going to need a good old trekking pole. So the first thing I want to do with this tarp is I want to take this out of here, and I want to roll it out and spread it out. Once we spread it out, we're going to peg down certain parts of it so that as we start to construct the shelter, parts of it will remain stationary, because we're going to try to create a floored shelter with this in case the ground is cold or in case the ground is damp. You want to have a shelter that's somewhat cool. So we're going to spread this tarp out, and I got to open it first. And we're going to put the side with the logo down on the ground, because we want it, when we're done with this, when we pull this up, we're going to want that part to be the outside of the tarp. I'm also going to do this tarp in such a way that the center line, the center seam, runs from the high end back to the low end. And here's my center seam right here. So it's already aligned for me as I'm unrolling this. So now that I've got the tarp spread out, I'm going to put in 3 pegs. The first one is going to go in right here in this front corner. So we'll put that peg in. And this is going to be the area of our floor in our shelter. I'm going to put another peg in the back corner. And then I'm going to come up and I'm going to put another peg in the center of this front line, right along where this seam is. And I've got a little hole, I can just put that right in, right there. Okay, so the next step is going to make the first movement of our tarp. We're going to fold those 2 corners back over against this front corner and the back corner to make a large rectangle. Now at this point, you could peg in the back corner if you want to, but you don't have to. You could peg that in if you wish. But I think we're going to be able to make this fold without having to peg this corner down. Now I'll tell you, if you do peg down the back corner, at this point you're going to have to take that peg up, because the next step is a crucial step. We're going to have to get out a guy line and our trekking pole and another peg. Now you could use any kind of a toggle here, right here. I'm going to go in and attach the guy line to the middle tab in this tarp from the front to the back. I'm going to attach a peg to it, and I'm just going to use a peg for my toggle, but you could use a stick or anything that you find out in the ground, in the woods, and that's going to keep that nice and tight. The other way you could do it is you can just simply take your line and pass it through there, and now it's tied to that. Now that's going to be important because we're going to want to be able to tighten this down, okay? So it's important that we have this tied to this. So next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to bring this tab, which is in the center from the front to the back, and I'm going to bring it up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put my trekking pole underneath here, and that's a little high, so I'm going to lower that a little bit. Whoop. That's about right. I'll bring that over just a little. Now, whoop, I got to get another peg. Didn't get my peg that I needed. Okay, there's my peg. Now what I'm going to do, whoops, that's not as tight as it ought to be. So now that I've got that pole in there, I'm going to take this, I'm going to bring this out, and I'm going to tie this end off. I'm just going to tie a little overhand knot in it. You could tie a fancy slip knot in it if you wanted to try to keep the, so you could tighten it, but I'm not going to do that. So we're just going to tighten this down. I'm going to pull it. It's got that nice and taut. Now we've got a couple other pegs we need to put in. I'm going to take this line right here, and I'm going to pull it out a bit. I'm going to attach another guy line to it. Pull this out. Now we'll tighten this again later. Tighten this down in a minute. So my final guy line I'm going to attach to this center peg right here, or center tab in this tarp, because I'm going to want to pull this out because it's going to be a little slouchy on the inside if I don't. So I'm going to slide a loop up in there, pull that through. I'll make me another loop over here for my peg. Pull that out, and then we can go around and tighten this as we need to. Tighten it up. Ground's kind of hard. Uses a hammer. So at this point, if I want to, I can actually raise that pole up a little bit. I'll raise it up just a little bit. And we can tighten that down a little bit more. I want to move this more toward the center. And we pull this tighter. This is one reason why you might want to tie a bigger loop in the end of this so that you can tighten it easier. Now this flap can be pulled back if you wish. It can also be taken and you can pull it out if you want. Makes a much bigger tarp if you want to do that. And in fact, I'm going to do that with, let's go ahead and do that with another line. Jeez. So as you can see, in just a very few minutes, I have created a tarp without having to put up a ridge line or attach it to a tree. I've got plenty of space to stretch out and lay down in here during the night. I've already got a floor in here that's waterproof and will help protect a little bit against coolness from the ground. And I've got plenty of room under here for my gear. I can put my backpack here, I can put my cooking stuff, I can sit under this if I wish, I can build a fire out in front of this thing if I wish that will keep me warm during the night. If I want to, I can take that flap and bring it down and sort of close off a little bit. I could close off the whole thing if I wanted to. But generally, this is going to be a really nice, quick shelter for you if you don't want to set up underneath the trees where you could be in danger of being dropped on by some widowmakers. So this is a really good option. There's other options. I've got another video I link below where I've done a separate kind of setup that's more of an enclosed setup. This would be a better setup when it's not real cold outside and you want to get some airflow. Because if you're in the summer, you don't want to be all closed up, you're going to get really hot. A tarp like this can get some condensation if you don't have good airflow. So a tarp like this would be really good, I think, in the summer or early fall like it is right now. And down here in the south, it's still in the 70s and 80s sometimes. And now it's getting down to, you know, the 40s. But honestly, the weather is still really, really nice. And I certainly can't see wanting to be in an enclosed winter tent at this point. So, you know, I have a lot of fun taking this tarp out and trying different types of setups, seeing what I can come up with that maybe I haven't seen before that might be a little unique. You ought to try that too. What kind of setups have you tried that worked for you in different situations? It may not always be the standard A-frame, may not be the standard ridgeline kind of tarp that you're used to. Maybe something different that you've come up with. I'd love to hear about it. I'd love to see a video on it, actually, if you come up with something unique. So if you like the video, we encourage you to like that video with a thumbs up. We'd love to have you subscribe to the channel, and if you do, hit that notification bell so that when we have new videos come out, you'll be made aware of them. And also, if you see that hype button down below and you really like the video, hit that hype button and give us some hype points. I don't know what the hype points do, but hey, if we get them, that's kind of fun, right? So in the meantime, remember what we always say: stay strong, stay prepared, and have a blessed day. We'll see you real soon right here on Cowboy Survival.